Frollo is the app that several thousand single parents say has been life-changing for them in the most profound way. If you're a single parent and want to connect with other single parents and open yourself up to an amazing support network and new experiences, then the Frollo app is the one for you. The Frollo app has two modes: community mode for meetups and holidays, guidance and support, chats, and discovery to make it easy to find like-minded local single parents near you. Dating mode is a mindful, safe, and respectful dating offering where everybody is there to date another single parent. All users on Frollo are verified, putting our user safety first always. The Frollo app is free to download and use, with the option to upgrade to premium for access to lots of additional premium features for an elevated experience, which makes it easier than ever to access the incredible connections and experiences you're looking for. To download Frollo, search for Frollo, Frollo, on the App or Google Play Store, or go to www.frollo.com for more info. We can't wait to see you on the app soon.
You're listening to the Frollo podcast. I'm Zoe, the founder of Frollo, a social networking app and community for single parents that's launching soon. On the Frollo podcast series, I will be talking to single parents, or Frollos, about their stories and experiences. I will also be chatting to a range of experts who will be able to share valuable guidance related to single parent life. Today, I am joined by a singing, cooking, travelling, dreaming American mama in London, Bethie Hungerford, otherwise known as the Hunger Mama on Instagram. Bethie has a food-related podcast called Friends with Recipes and is releasing a book of Hunger Pot recipes soon. Bethie has 2 kids and has recently separated from her husband. Bethie, thank you for agreeing to be here today on the Frollo podcast.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's great to meet you.
Yeah, lovely to meet you in person too. And as I said, I've been following you for a while and you're clearly a woman of many talents.
That's a nice way to say it.
Well, you are. Oh my God. You seem like one of these people that's just good at everything.
I just have to do a lot of different things to get by. So I feel like I'm constantly like, you know, do they say blagging it here?
Yeah, blagging it. Yeah.
That's a UK term that makes me nervous to use, but I've just used it. So I do a lot of blagging where I'm like, yeah, I can do that. Sure, I can. Oh, sure, I'll write a recipe book. I can totally do that.
I think you're underselling yourself. No,
you're sweet.
But so to give anyone who doesn't know you a bit of background, can you, tell us a bit about you?
Yeah, I'm American, clearly, from my accent. I moved to the UK 8 years ago now, and am now a British citizen, which is weird still. I am a trained singer. I also have a degree in social work, which I never really mentioned because I don't use it.
Yeah, I didn't know that one.
Yeah. I always thought I would just sing on the side, and then my singing really took off, and then I started singing full time, and then we moved here with a 3-month-old baby.
Wow.
Charlotte, who's now 8, and I just couldn't get my foot in the door singing here, so then I kind of started doing all sorts of other things and eventually ended up blogging and have kind of stayed there.
And what about your food? You're obviously a total foodie.
I just love to eat. So people ask me, they'll say, you know, oh, are you a chef or what's your training? And I'm like, nothing. No, I just love food and I love to eat. And when I became a mom and took over the cooking duties, I just got a bit obsessive about meal planning because it would come to 5 o'clock and I'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I have to go to the store. And so I started meal planning, and that's what my blog was initially. It was mostly just meal planning. And then I started posting my really lazy versions of these really great recipes. And then, it's just kind of the cookbook has followed from that. Basically, my Hunger Pots, they want a book of Hunger Pots.
Yeah.
And when I went into the publisher, I was like, I could do this, I could do that, I could write a book on this. They're like, no, we want your super lazy, pretty much embarrassingly easy recipes that you do. So basically you put everything in one pot and you stir it as it cooks.
Yeah.
And it literally couldn't be easier. And it's slightly embarrassing because it's so easy. But that's what my cookbook is.
I am honestly so excited for your cookbook. I cannot tell you how much I need this cookbook in my life.
Good.
Like, I am a complete disaster.
Oh, no.
I love food. I adore cooking. But in order to kind of do a good job at cooking, I like need an entire day. I need to kind of go to like, you know, a good butcher, then another place. And then I need not to have a toddler running around trying to kind of pull out of me while I'm doing it.
Yeah. No, this is like, I do these recipes for babysitters who are coming over. And because it literally could not be easier to make a homemade meal.
Yeah.
And so it's just easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really relate to that thing of like 5 o'clock going, no, what will I do? And then I feel like crap because it's like, oh no, I'm doing it again, doing like the cheat version, or it's cheesy pasta again, or, you know.
That's just a stress I've just cut out, and I just meal plan.
Okay, any tips on meal planning?
Just do it.
How do you set aside time on a Sunday, or what? How do you go about it?
So, I mean, now that I'm a single mom, things are a bit more kind of a free-for-all in terms of like, I've only been on my own for like 3 months. Yeah. So I've not been quite as good as I was before because I had another adult to feed. Yeah. And we had an au pair. We've had an au pair for the last like 3 years, I think, 2 years. So there was always at least one other adult to feed. Yeah. Usually 2 other adults to feed. So I felt that pressure of I need to do a proper meal. Yeah. I definitely felt that pressure. And like when it's just me on my own eating at home, I am really embarrassed, but I'm going to admit this. I eat a lot of crap food, like a lot of frozen pizzas. Yeah. Because pizza is my comfort food. Yeah. Like Mexican food is my comfort food, but because I can't get that here, it's pizza. Yeah. But I don't want to do that to my kids. So a lot of hunger pots because they're easy. I guess my biggest tip is don't make it hard. Like, don't plan hard meals. Yeah. You can plan something easy that's delicious and, you know, like a frittata is not hard to do. But if you make sure you have the courgette and you have the tomatoes and you have the feta cheese or whatever it is, then it just all of a sudden becomes way easier because you're ready and you're prepared and you know what you're going to make. Exactly. And it's such a good feeling when you have it organized, when you do the shop, when you know what it just takes so much energy and headspace and stress out of it. Yeah. So I just cut that annoying bit out. Yeah. And when is your book out? So the book, well, it's due in a month. Okay. Which is slightly terrifying. And then it comes out a year from now. A year from now? Can you just please make it sooner? I know. How am I going to cope? Spring 2020 is when it comes out. It'll be published through HarperCollins. Fab. Which is very exciting. Very exciting. But it's due in a month, and then we shoot all of the pictures in July. Okay, that will be fun. Yeah, I hope so. There's this really amazing photographer who lives in my neighborhood called Charlotte Bland. Hi, Charlotte. And when I was in the meeting, they were like, oh, you know, we have this photographer in mind for this project, and she actually lives in your neighborhood. I was like, wait, my friend Charlotte? Oh, nice. Oh, that's lovely to have your friend involved. Yeah. So it's going to be really fun. And so a few Frolos sent in questions, actually, and one of them for you was about fussy eaters, which is such a thing for me as well, because my son, Billy... Oh, God, it's a disaster. Like, he will not eat anything that resembles a vegetable. Mm-hmm. It almost has to be a white carb. Mm-hmm. So any tips? This is like the most common question I get. So I see a dermatologist, Dr. Maioni. She's not technically a dermatologist, but she helps me with my skin because since breaking up with my ex, my skin has like exploded with blah. Which is a sidebar to say, she was asking me about fussy eating. Yeah. She's like, how do I get my kids to eat? And that's actually the book I proposed to HarperCollins. I was like, let me write a book about fussy eating.
Yeah.
And they were like, no. Like, darn it. So I wrote a blog post, and it's called, I need to change the name of it, but it's called How I Cured My Picky Eater.
Okay.
And I wrote it like 3-4 years ago. So I need to update it. But basically I went through, I think, like 5 to 10 tips on how to stop the fussiness.
Okay.
One of the biggest things is just cut out snacks, because kids will eat if they're hungry.
Yeah.
But most kids are coming to the table not hungry. And they know they don't have to eat because after dinner, they'll get a piece of fruit or a big glass of milk or a bowl of yogurt or whatever it is that you give them so they'll sleep through the night.
Yeah.
Or that, because of the mom guilt and you don't want them to go to bed hungry.
Yeah.
So my tip is let them go to bed hungry. They'll do it once, maybe twice.
Yeah.
And of course, there are kids that have, like medical conditions where they can't stand the texture or whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about most kids, they just don't have to eat dinner.
Yeah.
They just don't have to.
Yeah.
Because they know they will always get something else.
I know, it's so true. You do. You're like, oh my God, they're going to die of hunger.
They won't.
I live with myself.
They won't. Presuming there's not a medical condition, they will not die of hunger.
Yeah.
They will eat if they are hungry enough.
Yeah.
So something I say to my kids all the time, you don't have to eat it.
Yeah.
But there's nothing else.
Yeah.
And I'm not making you anything else.
Yeah.
And no, you can't pick around this, that, and the other thing. And there's no food until breakfast. So it's up to you.
And so were your kids fussy eaters and then that?
So my daughter, who's now 8, and then my son's 5, my daughter who's 8 was getting really picky.
Okay.
And I have a nephew who's autistic, and he eats only hamburgers, hot dogs, and macaroni and cheese.
Okay.
And so there's another issue there.
Yeah.
But I just kept thinking, she's only going to eat, like pasta. And then I was like, I need to do something. And I read a bunch of books and blog articles and things, and then just started trying things. So another one of my tips that I don't even know, I think I just started trying this, was that if she liked something, I was like, we're not having that anytime soon again.
Okay.
Because I didn't want her to get accustomed to it or like obsessed with it.
Yeah.
So I cut down pasta to like once a week. And then when I did pasta, it was never the same.
Okay.
So I wouldn't get the same jar of sauce. I wouldn't use the same pesto. I wouldn't use the same type of pasta, because that's how you get into the habit of, or you start getting kids who are like, I will only eat this brand of tomato sauce, and I don't want the chunks, and I don't want this, and I want it like that.
Yeah.
It's like, well, if they have something different every time, they're not going to get stuck into that. And same with mums who spend, 20 minutes picking the pith off of an orange.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't ever do that to begin with, they won't know it's an option.
Yeah.
And then they'll just eat the orange with the pith on.
Yeah.
I mean, I've struggled since my son, who's 5, has started school, because like all of the other kids are picky eaters for the most part. And so he started like not eating the crust on his sandwich for the first time ever. Oh, and I was like, because before he didn't even know that was an option.
Yeah.
I had never cut crust off. His sister always eats crust. I always eat crust. He never knew that it was an option to not eat crust until he started school and saw that the other kids would eat a sandwich and leave the crust. He was like, oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
So I've had to kind of set my feet harder with him since he's started school. Yeah. Because they kind of, it feels to me, and I'm very passionate about this, so I'm going to go over the top, but it feels to me like they're encouraging picky eating at school, and that I have to kind of reverse what they've done at dinner time.
Yeah. And what you're saying, your tips are really helpful, because I think I'm probably, hearing you talk now, I probably haven't been helping the situation. So like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, there's a pea in your pasta, and like then going and picking it all out just so he'll eat something.
Right. And it's that mum guilt.
Yeah.
It's so much of the mum guilt.
Yeah.
But now my kids eat so well. We can travel around the world and eat the cuisine of wherever we are. We never have to travel with food. We can go to anyone's house for dinner. So you put in the work now, and then it becomes easier in the long run. Like, it feels so difficult in the moment to go, no, I'm not making you anything else. No, you can't have a banana.
Yeah.
No, you do have to go to bed hungry, and then putting up with the crying and the tears and the... But then in the long run, it's less fighting.
Yeah.
Because it's just easy after that. I mean, you have to do maintenance.
Yeah.
But it's so much easier having a kid who will eat.
For sure.
Yeah.
Right, that's it. Billy is getting a bowl of mixed veg for his dinner.
And then he won't eat it, and then you have to send him to bed hungry.
Yeah, no milk, no yogurt, nothing.
Yeah, I challenge you.
I know. I'll see how this works out. Yeah. And so you've just moved into your new place. And where it's in
Herne Hill.
In Herne Hill, lovely.
Yeah.
And again, another one of your talents, your interior style.
Oh,
I love.
you.
It's so lovely.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's
I've
really
always
nice.
been a bit of a hippie.
I love that style. I
Yeah.
absolutely love it.
Well, so when I met my ex, I was 21.
Okay.
And I was at university, and I had a dorm room that was like very, very hippie.
Yeah.
With like material, on the walls and like posters and things just stuck up to the, stuck on with blue tack or whatever on the walls. And then I met my ex, and he was just so sophisticated. I mean, he's still just a very sophisticated guy. And so we kind of went more towards like kind of dark woods and, nice carpets and that sort of thing. So when I got my own place, I was like, I'm just going to revert back to dorm room living.
Being able to do what you want.
Yeah. So it does feel like, I joke that it's just a big dorm room.
No, it's gorgeous. It's really,
you.
it's just, it looks really soulful.
I
the way you
love it.
Yeah.
So I'm in a 1960s build.
Okay.
Which I love.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to find that in London. So there are a lot of like really old, not old, but just vintage, like the perfect type of vintage for me. Like a big stone fireplace and those stairs where you can like put your foot through when you're going up the stair.
I remember getting my head stuck in one of them when I was a kid, just to see, if it fit.
If it works.
It did fit, but not on the way out.
It's just a matter of time before my kids try that. Hopefully they won't listen to this recording. Yeah. But it's like just this really vintage feel.
Yeah.
And I've kind of run with that. And it works with kind of the crap furniture I have at the moment.
Furniture looks gorgeous. Yeah, and I love the wall. The wall hanging. I think you were given it. There's a what's that?
Oh my gosh, Sessions. I think their Instagram is like @sessions.co or something like that.
Followed it and saved it so that I can get one.
It's on my Instagram, which is just @HungerMama, and it's the most beautiful wall hanging.
Yeah, it's
they
gorgeous.
reached out to me because basically when I moved out, it was obviously the most traumatic time of my entire life.
Yeah.
And because I was moving out, I didn't want to disrupt the house that we were in very much. So I just took the crappy bed from the guest room that used to be the au pair's room, and the dresser from the guest room, and the furniture from the playroom, and I bought stuff from IKEA.
Yeah.
So, like, my couch is broken, and I have this really crappy bed that makes a bunch of noise when I move around on it. And my son's dresser, like, half of it is missing because it was, like, moldy. And then I had to rip it off. And it's like, if you touch it, it wobbles.
Yeah.
So, I've managed to make it all look good. And this moment isn't forever. And I'll eventually, replace things with nicer furniture and that sort of thing. But in the meantime, I'm just trying to make it feels so happy there, and it's such a positive vibe there that I honestly don't even, I don't care that it's half IKEA stuff.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's just creating, a lovely space and home. And,
Yeah.
and it looks, well, through your Instagram feed, I just look at it and I'm like, oh my God, that is gorgeous. That is gorgeous. It looks really lovely.
Thank you. Well, that sessions,
the sessions
hanging
thing.
is
so they
amazing.
sent it to you.
So they reached out to me and offered to send me something from their website. And not to be wanky, but a lot of people will offer me things and I'll go and look and be like, oh, that's not so much for me. But this one I was like, it just stopped me completely in my tracks. Oh my goodness.
What's the story behind it? That
it's all British made. They get these individual UK-based artists to create these works of art.
Yeah.
And this wall hanging that I have is screen printed.
Okay.
So it's just amazing quality.
Yeah.
Heirloom quality. They're not paying me to say this, by the way.
Yeah.
I just genuinely adore what they're doing. I've worked a lot with small businesses and love working with small businesses. And this one in particular is just, they're doing it right.
They look like really unique pieces, really kind of stand out, unique pieces.
They are stunning pieces.
Yeah.
That one, so that's basically one nice thing in my lounge.
Yeah.
And then I have a rug that used to be in my daughter's room in our old house, and then I've taken that and put it down as my kind of living area rug. So that, and then the sessions, and it's made that room really warm.
Yeah, it's
and
so
happy.
It's so important, isn't it? When I when myself and my ex broke up, I moved into a new place, and it just became. I'm always take great pride in kind of making a home and a house, as I wanted, or to feel excited when I walk through the door. Just like homely and cozy. Yeah. But it became even more important then, I think, just having that sanctuary. And
well, I put everything on hold to set up my house. And I'm just renting, but I had to take down wallpaper, which I had permission to do. But like a bunch of wallpaper had to come down, and I painted a bunch, and but I had to, for my own well-being, I had to prioritize setting up a happy space for me and the kids. I just
totally get that.
Had to. And I'm so glad that I did. Because when I've had a rough day, or if I'm super stressed out about this, that, and the other thing, I can sit in my little lounge and just feel really happy and cozy and safe. Yeah. And I just needed that. Yeah. I'm glad I recognized that when I moved in.
Yeah, I fully get that, the importance of that. Yeah. And how are you? Obviously, you were saying it's been 3 months since the breakup.
Well, I moved. Basically, Christmas wasn't great.
Yeah.
And I was just talking to another single mom, actually outside the school gates, who's gone through the same timeline, basically. Christmas wasn't great. Things started falling apart in January. And then I think my first month in my new place was February, I think. It's all been such a blur.
Yeah.
But it's been absolutely the best decision. I'm so happy I've done it, and I haven't regretted it for a second.
That's good.
Yeah, but it's been the most difficult thing I've ever lived through. And I've, lived through some not great things, as we all have. And this has just been, it's been really, really horrible.
Yeah.
But then there have been moments of great, where I've never felt more loved and supported and cared for. And, people offer to help. And we're also used to going, oh, no, it's fine. And I've found myself in a position where I have to go, yeah, actually, I do need that help. And I literally just had to give myself permission to say yes to help when it's offered. And I have, and it's been very humbling. I almost said humiliating. I guess it's been that too. It's been very humbling, and I've felt so loved. But it's also just been, can I swear?
Yeah,
it's been raw shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I really appreciate you coming on so soon after, the beginning of your journey with it, because I know, God, well, when I think back to where I would have been at 3 months, I mean, it was like, yes, in that blurry kind of like, shit show kind of phase of it.
Well, people tell me all the time on Instagram, I mean, I've kind of unintentionally developed this not following. I guess people were following me already, but there are so many single moms that follow me on Instagram. And I had no idea. And I've gotten so many DMs and had so many conversations with so many different people about this all. And so many people say, oh, you're so brave for talking about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it actually has nothing to do with bravery, and more that it's just my personality that I either have to just share it all or I have to come off of social media entirely.
Yeah.
And I just kind of instinctively started sharing, not even thinking for a second that it would be inspirational to someone else.
Yeah.
That was a complete accident. It was more that I just can't not be genuine about what's going on in my life on Instagram.
Yeah.
So I've just, I just get verbal diarrhea, I guess, and just share everything.
But I think it's great because I think even, if you're saying you kind of don't have a choice, either hide away and not do it, I think it still takes guts to be vulnerable and to share what you're going through, especially something that is so kind of raw. And I know you don't disclose, the kind of back details, which is totally fair enough. And I'm the same, and I think many people are. But I think to share your own kind of, journey, and I think it will help other people, because like we were talking about just before the recording started, within the Frollo community, for instance, last night somebody posted in a message saying they were kind of rock bottom. How were they? Were they ever going to feel good again? How would they get out of bed? And lots of Frollos then messaged in saying, I totally have been where you are. It does get better. It does get easier. So I think it's very reassuring to other people on different stages of the journey. And
well, it just normalizes it. Here's my social worker coming out.
Yeah, but it's true.
It does just normalize the experience for other people who feel like they're the only ones who have had these thoughts or had these feelings or felt this way.
Yeah.
And to know that, all of these other people are going through the same thing. It just makes you feel less alone.
Totally.
Yeah, which is why I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
Because you're kind of drawing all of those women together and saying, look.
And men.
And men.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize it was men
dads.
too.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Because men get lonely too. But just showing everybody that here are hundreds, thousands of other people in your same situation.
Yeah.
You are not alone.
Exactly.
You are not the only one.
Yeah.
There are loads of people on, in your community that have the same experiences and I think it's brilliant.
Thank you.
Because joining a Facebook group for me was a big deal. That it was like a single mums.
Yeah.
in my local area.
Yeah.
And I've never posted on there.
Yeah.
But just seeing their comments come through and have you, did you see a lawyer? Or what is your, scheduling like? And that sort of thing.
Totally, because there's so many unique challenges, like whether it's, co-parenting or, legal advice, or like how the kids are coping, or how to get back into dating, like, what to do with childcare. Like, there's just a million unique challenges that suddenly you're kind of, is part of your life, really.
Yeah, and I've gone from, and I'm sure this is often the case, I've gone from socializing as a family with families.
Yeah.
And now that can, as we were talking about before we started recording, that can feel really lonely.
Yeah.
To be the single mom in a family situation. So to be able to make friends with other single parent families.
Exactly.
It's just nice. You feel less weird.
Yeah.
Again, you just feel more normal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And how are your kids doing?
Yeah, I keep trying to check in with them, but they seem really good.
Great.
I mean, the thing is that kids can feel that stress in a bad relationship.
Exactly.
And they can feel, at least on my end, and I'm sure with my ex as well, they can feel how much happier I am. And I'm a better mom. I'm more engaged because I'm absolutely there with them when I'm there. Whereas before I would be, trying to avoid my ex, or I would let him just kind of take them so I didn't have to go with them and then have a big fight or whatever. So I was doing a lot of hiding.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how much hiding I was doing until I've just had them all this last weekend.
Yeah.
And I woke up and I was like, I did have to go sing a funeral on Saturday, which is not sad. It's not anyone I know. I'm singing another funeral tomorrow.
Okay.
And I love singing funerals, but that's another conversation. But so I did have to go work a bit on Saturday, and my ex took the kids. But it was that moment of like waking up and going, I've never not never had my kids on a weekend, but I'm responsible for them all day.
Yeah.
And all day tomorrow. And I have to do dinner on the weekends, which normally I would never cook on the weekends. It was always kind of for my ex, he would just take them all weekend because I would always hide away. And now I'm not. And I got to the end of yesterday and I'd taken them to a fair. We'd gone shopping. We played and just cooked and had a great long day.
Yeah.
And I just looked at that and I was like, I literally cannot remember the last weekend like that I'd spent with my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a much better mom.
Yeah.
And I think that's, being reflected in how well they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I relate to that as well. I'm a better person. I'm a happier person. Mm-hmm. I'm a more kind of present mother now than I would have been in the relationship, or if I was still in the relationship. And yeah, it's such a myth, isn't it, that stay together for the kids. And, it's...
I've had, when I was kind of trying to decide, do I stay or do I go? And I had so many friends say, oh, my parents stayed together for the kids and we hated them for it.
Yeah.
We just wish they would have separated.
Exactly. Because you're so aware, you can feel it.
And what guilt for the kids to know that your parents sacrificed their happiness and not even successfully because of you.
Yeah.
That just feels bad.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I also want to be happy.
Yeah.
And I want to strive for happiness in my own life as well.
Yeah.
And
for your kids to see that their mother understands and knows that she is worth that, and has to.
I have to role model that if I'm going to teach it to them. I can tell them everything I think they need to hear, but what they will remember is that I stood up for myself and my own happiness and took charge of my own life and my own future and their future. Yeah. And that we were all so much happier because of it. Yeah. Yeah. Which was a hard decision to make.
Of course.
In the moment. And, I felt like I worried that I was really screwing things up. But now on the other side, it was absolutely the right decision.
That's so good. And being able to, have full conviction of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And is it too soon to ask you if you've thought about dating or anything that yet? Or
it's funny how people come out of the woodwork when you're single all of a sudden. I couldn't be in a serious relationship anytime soon.
Yeah.
It's just too much.
Yeah.
And I've come out of this 17-year relationship that I got into when I was 21.
Yeah.
I've never dated. I was a good Catholic girl. So my husband was the only man I'd ever slept with.
Wow.
So I'm kind of struggling there because I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure the dating apps didn't exist back when you were...
No. Well, I was in college. I mean, I just feel like I was such a baby.
Yeah. And 21 is so young.
Yeah. And I was married at 23.
Wow.
So I feel like I, A, have a lot of living to do.
Yeah.
And B, that I'm aware that I have no idea, like, how to date. Who pays? I don't know.
Yeah.
How soon do you kiss the guy? I don't know. What do you wear on a date? Where do you go on a date? I need some mental clarity just in my life in general before I get into another actual relationship.
Yeah, of course. Well, I would say the answers to all of those questions are probably anything goes. But yeah, if you want any guidance from the Frollo community, the Frollo community is great for coming back with dating chat and sharing their various escapades on different dating apps and which ones are I find the whole idea of dating really exciting and overwhelming. Yeah.
And so I'm just kind of trying to stay out of it for the moment.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And obviously you're here in the UK now that you're a British citizen and your family are in the States, and you've kind of shared on your Instagram that it's a bit of a struggle for you.
It's a huge struggle. I mean, going through this at all is really hard. Going through it without your best friends and without your family around it just feels like torture. I mean, it's horrible. I've had some really dark moments just feeling like if I were going through this and I could just I can call my mom, but it's like, 2 a.m.
Yeah.
I just would love to be able to curl up on, this is going to make me cry.
Like
curl up on the couch with my mom and just, eat some popcorn and watch a film.
Yeah.
Or my best friends. And that's been so hard.
Yeah.
To be far away from them. And I have amazing people here in the UK. And a friend of mine, Kat, who's not so smug now on Instagram, she's so great. She's been such a good friend. And I love her because she tells me like it is.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't put it into flowery terms for me. She sent me a text when I was doing all these Instagram stories about how lonely I am here and I'm desperate to move home because I'd just come back from a trip to America.
Yeah.
And she wrote me, she's like, babe, you have people here. You just aren't investing in them because you're so sad about your friends back home. But we're here and we're waiting for you. You just need to turn to us.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, was, a hug and a slap at the same time. But it's what I really needed to hear at that point because I was just spiraling. I was, just so desperate to move home.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is that my ex doesn't want to move home. He's from California and I'm from Washington State.
Yeah.
So we're both from the West Coast. He doesn't want to go. I want to go.
Yeah.
Do I push for an international custody battle?
Yeah.
Or do I just, say, okay, fine, then I'm here, I guess.
Yeah. And is it indefinite? Like, do you think at the moment it looks like it's an indefinite thing? Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes me really upset and really angry because I feel like I don't have control in my own life.
Yeah.
Which is a horrible feeling to have.
Yeah.
But I just need to, like, I don't want to have this horrible situation where I'm trying to get the kids and, like, that would be so traumatic for everybody.
Yeah.
And, my ex is a great dad, and he needs to be in the kids' lives, and the kids need him in their life. He's a very hands-on, engaged dad. But for me, like, my singing career is mostly in America and my people and, like, my culture. And
Yeah.
So, I mean, we started off this podcast, I used the word blag for the first time ever. Like, I've been here 8 years and there's still, like, I still don't feel like I will ever fit in here entirely. And I guess that's more for an expat podcast. But
on that note, do you have expat friends here, or do you have any American friends who are single parents here who are dealing with the similar?
When we moved here, I really tried not to just find Americans to befriend because I wanted to invest in being where I was.
Yeah.
And a lot of the American community would get together and be like, oh, I hate air-dried laundry, and the toilets here are different, and you can't find the right peanut butter. And, and I was just like, I don't want that negativity in my life. And I get it. Like, it does, like, suck. Like, the Mexican food situation in particular, and not having Target, like, that's rough.
Yeah.
But I ended up just becoming friends with mostly Brits, and mostly through Instagram.
Yeah.
Amazingly. I mean, I have American friends as well, but most of the single mums that I'm kind of chatting with are British. So Cherry Healy, who's also on Instagram.
Yeah.
I think she's just Cherry Healy.
Yeah.
She's been absolutely brilliant. She's a single mom, and she's dating a really great guy and has given me dating advice. She calls me all the time.
Yeah.
Just to see how I'm doing.
That's so
like,
nice.
Without a question or anything.
Yeah.
She just calls to chat and see how I'm doing. And that's been huge. That's been incredibly helpful because she's been there.
That's it.
Yeah.
Getting
so she knows.
Who gets it.
Yeah. She knows how important it is just for that adult interaction.
Yeah, and to check in.
Yeah. So she's been absolutely brilliant as well, and so incredibly helpful with the whole situation.
That's great.
Yeah. She's been a mentor, really.
That's great.
She's mentoring me through single momship.
But it's so important to have that kind of mentorship, because I think people who aren't single parents will do their best to kind of be supportive and help you, but having somebody who actually really fully understands because they've been through it themselves, and that feels like a mentor in your journey. It's been huge,
because everyone offers advice and tells you, read this book, do this, say this thing, see this lawyer. It's like, I would love to have the opportunity to try all of those things.
Yeah.
But I can't afford to, and I don't have time. So, having someone to just, encourage me to stand on my own 2 feet and to tell me I'm doing a good job, and that, if I have any questions, I can come to her. That's been absolutely brilliant and just life-saving, really.
That's great. Yeah, I love Cherry Healy.
Yeah,
she's brilliant.
She's really a really, truly lovely person. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So finally, any self-care tips, or what would you say to somebody who's at the very beginning of their journey? How do they look after themselves?
Yeah, gosh. I mean, I still feel like I'm at the beginning of my journey. I guess I would say, reach out and find communities like Frollo, find the, single mom meetup group and go out with them And when people offer to help, say yes. Like it feels so vulnerable to say yes. And you worry that, oh, did they really mean that?
Yeah.
Did they really? But yeah, people do actually want to help. So when they offer help, say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's such a good piece of advice. None of us are built to do this all on our own.
No.
You know, and it's nice to be independent and self-sufficient as much as possible. But yeah, we all need to accept help, don't we?
Yeah. Humans are meant to be in community.
Definitely.
So we can create that community one way or another. And part of creating community is investing and letting people invest in you.
Yeah.
And then you can return the favor like Cherry's doing.
Exactly.
So I love the idea of being able to return that favor one day to someone else.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I am so looking forward to, making lots of Hunger Pot recipes when the book comes out. I think you've got a few recipes on your blog now, don't you?
So if you go to hungermama.com, you can, if you type Hunger Pot into the search bar, it's a pretty low-tech blog, which I'm really happy to have a book to put all of my thoughts into. But if you type in Hunger Pot, then a bunch will come up. My mac and cheese, one pot, and it's not even one pot. It's like you're not cooking things separately. You just literally throw all of the ingredients for mac and cheese into the pot and you stir it as it cooks. And it is so good because the starch from the pasta releases and makes it like nice and creamy.
Yeah.
And it's so easy and so good. So if you're going to try one, try the mac and cheese.
I am going to make the mac and cheese this week for Billy and I. I can guarantee you, unless it has like vegetables or hidden herbs in it, he will like it. So
well, I recommend if you have a vegophobe to grate some cauliflower into it.
Okay.
And then it just like you don't even see it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll post you a picture.
Oh,
when
do
I
it.
do it.
Please do.
Of proof. Yeah, and hopefully one of Billy smiling while he's stuffing his face
good.
with it.
It's so delicious, honestly. Like
I love mac and cheese.
Yeah. Me too.
Oh, thank you so much, Bethie. I really appreciate it. It's been so nice talking to you.
And you.
Yeah. And do we get to hear you sing it? Where do you sing? Do you or maybe you'll have to come and play a Frollo gig when we do
I could do a Frollo gig. Yeah. I do weddings and funerals.
Okay, guys, when you meet your next when your next man,
especially
you know
destination weddings. Yeah, I'll go to Spain. Sure.
Fab. Amazing. Thanks again, Bethie.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for listening and talk to you next time. Bye.